Shalom, shalom. It's been a year since the massacre of October 7, 2023. It was a terrible massacre, and it was a day that nobody expected completely. It took us by surprise. Thousands of Hamas and Arab Palestinian jihadic groups, terrorist groups, burst into Israel through the Israeli-Gaza border and massacred civilians across 24 Jewish communities that are around the Gaza border. And these attacks began in the morning of Saturday of Simchat Torah, which is supposed to be a joyous celebration, dancing and singing. But instead, we were received with 4,300 rockets. That's how the battle began. They launched 4,300 rockets into Israel, and while they were being launched, the Hamas terrorists groups and all these other groups, they ran into Israel on vehicles, on cars, on motorcycles, on bicycles, on paragliders, by foot. There's even a video of an old man walking into Israel with crutches. And they came in and committed the worst humanitarian crimes against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. They killed, they raped, they beheaded, they tortured, they burned men, women, children, babies without pity. And at the end of that day, 1,200 people were killed. 250 were taken into Gaza as hostages. Some of them alive, some of them dead. They didn't care. And in fact, 30 of those hostages were children. And in the music festival of the Nova Music Festival, 364 civilians, young folks, were killed. And right now we have about 100 hostages left. And they're still in Gaza, and Israel wants to get them back. So that's the goal. That's why Israel invaded Gaza, in order to destroy and eliminate the terrorist group Hamas and all the other terrorist groups, and to bring back our hostages. Even before Israel responded with an attack into Gaza, there were already pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas protests beginning here in Jordan, and then into Greece, and then all over Europe and London and England and the United States and Australia, and then eventually went to South America, and eventually went to the universities of the United States. And so this is, it shows that it's not about land. This is anti-Semitism, which has risen in the last few years. And Israel has been attacked since before the rebirth in 1948. There's a few massacres around the area in Hebron, specifically in 1929, but there were several other ones. So Israel has been trying to survive all these massacres, and thank God that there is a plan, that God has a plan with the Jewish people, and that's why Israel's still here. Otherwise it would have been destroyed many years ago. So Israel did invade Gaza eventually with the two goals, which is to eliminate Hamas and to bring back the hostages. But they didn't expect what they saw in Gaza. They found out that Gaza had been building for the past 20 years an underground terrorist system that's as long as 720 kilometers, and if you understand in miles, So that's like 450 miles. So you got to remember that Israel withdrew from Gaza about 20 years ago in 2005. Hamas took over in 2007. And ever since that, they made Gaza into a terrorist center. And they've been launching missiles into Israel ever since. And at the beginning, Israel was not attacking. They were more defensive, and they started building bunkers around the cities which are around the Gaza border. And so they would put started putting bunkers in close to buildings. Then they said, well, let's put each apartment has to have a bunker. And then they put bunkers in parks, public areas. And then they started making the bus stops bunkers. And now you see the bunkers all over the cities, because that was the idea, that people to run into and protect themselves from these missiles. And then thank God they came up with the Iron Dome, which has saved millions of lives, because if it wouldn't be for the Iron Dome intercepting the missiles and the rockets, a lot of Israelis would have been killed. So this has made the war in Gaza a little bit, very hard, because of this. And they've come up to like underground tunnels that are underneath schools and universities and hospitals and homes and UN facilities, and the world does not condemn this. And so there's been a lot of condemnation against Israel, and it's a terrible thing, because all the proof is there, but people just turn their head the other way and refuse to believe that the terrorist groups are acting this way or behaving this way, or they're doing all this. So on October 8th, the terrorist group Hezbollah, in support of the terrorist group Hamas, they started also launching rockets into Israel from Lebanon. So the Hezbollah group is inside Lebanon in the northern area. And ever since October 8th, we've received 9,000 rockets from them. And they've made about 14 little towns in the northern area of Israel to be burnt. And so about 100,000 people have evacuated, and the rockets have kept coming in, and they've burned their homes, a lot of their apartments, a lot of land. And so we have close to 100,000 Israelis as refugees within their country, inside their country, and they're all over Israel. So, in fact, one of these missiles landed inside Druze town in the northern area, in northern Israel, called Majd al-Shams, and it killed about 12 kids and injured more than 30 people. But yet the international community, including the United Nations, never did condemn this act. So now we've also received 2 direct attacks from Iran, and it has put all of the nation running into our bomb shelters, keeping us there for hours and hours. And it's also a psychological war, because they say we're going to attack, and for several days they didn't attack. So it's like you're under alert for several days, and you're like, are they going to attack, or are they not going to attack, or what's going on? So this is what we're facing over here. The United States, they give like a mixed message. They say we support Israel in defending themselves, but then they call for a ceasefire. So if you do a ceasefire, that means that you're giving victory to the terrorist groups and defeat to Israel. And we can't do that. We have to defeat these terrorist groups, which have been threatening Israel and terrorizing Israel for a long time. So we're facing a seven-front battle, a seven-front war against Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen. They've been launching rockets from there. We're in war with Syria, Iraq, and we have several issues in Judea and Samaria, and which in reality Israel is winning these battles in these seven fronts, but we're also fighting in social media, which Israel's not doing too well because of the fake news and because of anti-Semitism, which has risen quite a bit in the last few years. So this is where we are, and I pray that you guys will keep praying. Just to summarize, since October 7th, Israel has received launches from several of these countries. 13,200 launches from the Gaza Strip, 12,400 launches from Lebanon, 400 launches from Iran, 180 launches from Yemen, and 60 launches from Syria. That's the reality where we're in. Several nations and empires have tried to destroy the nation of Israel. You can see it in history, you can see it in the Bible, but nobody has succeeded. The people of Israel is still here. So this is a battle between good and evil, right and wrong. This is a battle that is against tyranny and in favor of freedom for millions of people. Shalom.